Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's Live at the Waterhole. And we are off to a flying start here at Mantis Founders Lodge with some beautiful white rhino. I love the sound effects here. You can hear them splishing and splashing, but thank you all so much for being here today. My name is Kelly, and I'm going to be with you for the next couple of hours. It is Monday the 15th of December. It is now 11:01 here in sunny South Africa, and we are all delighted that you could join us. Are you going to go in for a paddle? Please do remember that we are live and interactive for the next couple of hours. Please do engage with us either via WhatsApp, X, Facebook, Instagram, or on our YouTube channel. I love hearing from everyone that is joining us today. Send us your thoughts, your ideas, your comments, your questions. And as always, I will say that if I do not know the answer to something, which is incredibly common, I will not cheat. We all know we can access information all over the place these days. But I actually really enjoy giving myself a spot of homework. You put your nose right in there. Oh, it looks like they're showing a bit of interest in the camera here. Careful. We had a very interested baboon yesterday at, I think it was the Lentoro camera. I'm not sure if it survived, but the camera will not survive this. Could you get any closer to a rhino if you tried? That was a brilliant view there, actually. If you look at that, they're not too sure about this camera today. Those sides of those nostrils, I've been very fortunate to stroke those on a white rhino before. And those sort of, just as it goes around the sides, that bit around the edges of those nostrils there is soft and like velvet and a little bit snotty, if I'm honest. But if you ever wanted a close-up, ooh. I've never seen animals take so much interest in this camera here. It looked like it was biting something then. I've got quiet so I don't disturb them. Look at those nostrils. Like soft, snotty velvet. Jasmine, yes, this is a cracking start to the show. I've never seen animals take this much interest in this camera. They look interested and a little bit perturbed. I've often noticed rhino, if they're not entirely comfortable in a situation, they will go bum to bum, almost like a like you see in the movies. If there's a final shootout at the end of a movie, they go back to back, and I think rhinos do it for the same reason, trying to cover any approaching danger from all angles. But I've never seen this here before. Ao, you're asking, why do rhinos charge even when they can't see well? Their vision isn't as dreadful as a lot of people make out. It's not bad. It's not brilliant. It's not, it's not the sight capabilities of a hawk or some of the prey species that have excellent vision. But they can see stuff, and they will often, I find a black rhino also, they come to look. They come to investigate, they come to get closer. It could be a bit of intimidation. I was once told by a very, very well-known expert in our field, people often say black rhino are more aggressive than white rhino. They said that was quite unfair. They said black rhino are just more curious and come to investigate more quickly. And I've noticed white rhino will sometimes take a few bouncy steps towards something, and then they often spin and disappear in the other direction. But you can see this rhino's not super comfortable. Look at that kink in that tail. All animals is a good gauge of how they're feeling emotionally. Have a look at their tail, have a look at their ears. Or is he having a wee? She, rather. What's going on? Yeah, okay. I can't quite see what's going on back there. It sounds like a rhino-sized tinkle, but I can't be sure. Interesting. But yes, that's why it will often be intimidatory. Sometimes they will just be coming to have a look, and they can really move really quite quickly when they turn those fuel injections on. Kessie, it's a really good question. You're asking why rhinos have two horns. I'm not sure if you're asking why they have anything there at all, or why they have two as opposed to not having just one. I've never quite worked out why they have two as opposed to just one, but the reason they have any, I can hear squeaking now. The reason they have any is often defence. Females will use their horns to defend themselves or their little ones against predators, or sometimes unwanted attention from males, and males will use those horns to battle it out against other males. I just want to listen for a second. I could hear them vocalising then. That sounds like a whale. I would normally associate that sound with a calf. I would normally associate that sound with a calf who's a bit frustrated or wanting to suckle. But there's something going on here. There's a lot of rhinos here. What's going to happen here? This looks more confrontational now. See that bum to bum, and that tail was kinked. I feel like these two animals that are bum to bum are maybe not sort of juvenile as such, but younger animals. I think they're feeling a bit threatened by these others they're almost boxing them in. I'm not sure what the setup is here. Obviously the camera is where the camera is, and I'm not sure if there is a exit route for them. And I'm now thinking maybe that sound was coming from one of these individuals that's in the water. And that sound is, maybe a... Oh no, okay, maybe they're not too bothered. upset animals don't normally lie down. I can't tell where that sound's coming from. Doug, you're asking, could we see any black rhinos on the cameras? Doug, I've never seen black rhinos on these cameras, but there are so many cameras now. I'm sure there's somewhere up in the high 40s at least of different cameras that we've got. And I would have to check exactly where they all are to find out if black rhino were found in the distribution on any of the cameras, but I'm sure it would be possible on certainly some of the cameras, but I've never seen them, Doug. They're often they're not quite classified as nocturnal as such, but you're more likely, in my experience, to see black rhino in the evening or possibly at night. I know there's often records of them coming down to drink at waterholes at night time. So all of these rhinos will know each other. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if anyone from FC can help me if we know the parentage of those two individuals that were standing bum to bum. It could well be that they're related. And while there is a little bit of tension, it wouldn't surprise me if this youngster also flops down in the water now. It all looks pretty peaceful, but there's a lot of biomass in this water at the moment. I mean, 6, 7, 8, and there's a good 10 tons plus of rhino in this shot now. I would suggest, probably even more. Look, this youngster's resting his. You can see they're all fairly relaxed in each other's presence now. But I've never seen them here. I've never seen them at this point in the water. I'm not sure if maybe the inlet is across this side. Maybe they've topped up with water. But no, I've never seen this. They're normally across on the other side there. Hanny, you're asking, how do low grunts carry messages far? Frequency. They're not super loud, although they can be, saying that. Hello? By that camera? You can always see, look on that horn there. Look on that horn, you can see it's sort of fibrous. Can you see at the bottom? These horns are made of keratin, like our nails, and they're not completely smooth. If you look at the base of that little rhino's horn there, you can see the fibres on it. This is so cool. Hanny, the low frequency sounds do travel quite a long way, and these high pitched sounds are quite common from youngsters, but I've heard adult rhinos roar basically, and the frequency of those sounds can carry quite a long way. I've located rhinos before by listening for the sounds they make. This is such a cool image. I was going to say, I'm almost waiting for something to change and everyone stands up. If a big male comes into this picture, we might get different responses happening. They can often be quite bothersome. See that tail again? Desmond. Hello, Desmond from London. Thank you very much for being here, Desmond. From my original home country. It must be super chilly there now, leading up to Christmas. You're asking, how much does the average rhino weigh? These rhino, the males, probably up to about 2.5 tons, somewhere around there. Females slightly less, so maybe 1.6 tons. Yeah, that's not very hygienic, is it? Black rhinos slightly less. Although, if I remember correctly, I've had long discussions with people before about whether or not black or white rhino, black rhino, the females or the males are bigger, and I don't think we quite reached a conclusion. But black rhino are slightly smaller, but these individuals you can see here, a big male weigh up to about 2.5 tons roughly. Nelly, hello. Thank you for joining us today, Nelly. You are 13 and you're watching from Bulawayo. Thank you for watching from Bulawayo, Nelly. It's lovely to have you here, and thank you for sending in your question. And you're asking, are rhinos grazers or browsers? It depends. White rhino are grazers, so they feed on grass, and black rhino are browsers, and they will use that sort of hooked lip to nibble and snip off little branches of shrubs and things. Was that a rhino squeaking? So yes, it depends on the species of rhino, Nelly. Dom, you're asking what would be the main differences in white and black rhino. Diet, habitat, body shape and behaviour are the 4 main differences. So black rhino, you can see on these white rhino, they've got a sort of hump on their, none of them are side on. Just go side on for me, little rhino. There we go, thanks very much. You see that hump, sort of where they're sort of 2/3 down their back. Black rhino don't have that. Black rhino's head is also, they carry their head much higher. So think of it as a black rhino could sniff something much higher up than a white rhino could. The lip of a black rhino is hooked, also known as the hook-lipped rhino. So it's sort of pointy rather than these rhino, which is a very, very flat lip. Diet, so like we just said to Nelly, black rhino are browsers and white rhino are grazers. White rhino are debatably more gregarious. So as we can see here, there's quite a lot of rhino here. I'm just trying to think the most black rhino I've ever seen together is 3. A male, a cow and a calf. But if anyone knows of bigger groups of black rhino, please do let me know. And yeah, it's black rhino tend to be more active during the night, but I've seen many black rhino during the day as well. They don't sort of hide during the day. So yeah, there's lots of differences, and it's actually quite easy. If you see a black rhino and a white rhino stood next to each other, which I've also seen, which was mad, they are quite easy to distinguish between one another. And black rhino tend to be a little bit feistier, but again, massive generalisation. V, hello V, thank you for being here. Yeah, rhino pool party. I have seen behaviour similar to this, but certainly never on this camera. It's definitely a bit of a pool party going on here today. I've never seen them sort of over this time. And there was definite interest in the camera. It does make me wonder, even if the cameras are not moving or completely still, whether or not they give off some sort of electromagnetic field, or they sense the electrics in them or something like that, because you do sometimes see animals having a good look at those cameras, but very rarely have I seen an animal get frightened by those cameras. But there's definitely some interest going on there. Oh, that's a lovely. Oh, and another Don. You won't quite be able to see it. They've also got slightly different feet. They've all got 3 toes, but black rhino's toes are bizarrely slightly more spread out than white rhinos. And the white rhino foot, the back of the foot also has a slightly different structure to the black rhino. So many differences, also many similarities. But Dom, have a look in the internet ether, and if you see them standing next to each other, you'll be able to tell them apart. I find that with lots of things. If you see them in isolation, hey, down we go. Brown eagles being one of my nemesis. If you see a Wahlbergs and a Tawny stood next to each other, they're very, very easy to tell apart. But when they're 100 metres up in the sky, it's a little bit more difficult.
Hello, I'm James Hendry, and I'd like to take you on a very different kind of safari through the wild heart of Madagascar. In Undersea, we'll track the Indri's eerie call through misty rainforest. Then it's east on to Masuala, where lemurs leap through the jungle, coral reefs glow beneath the waves, and adventure waits around every bend. Come, let's explore it together.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
Do you want to know why impala are the most common antelope we find here in the Kruger National Park? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live. Connect with nature.
Morning everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Wow, that was amazing everybody.
Equivalent of a human mother spitting on a tissue and wiping a little one's face. Give me that leg, I to check for ticks. But Mum, I want to go play. I haven't checked your bottom yet. There's lots of small ones here at the moment. I almost feel like in a minute this adult that's grooming this little one is sort of going to go, right, okay, done, off you go. Very thorough though. It would have could have serious repercussions if especially these very small baboons don't have effective grooming, if they end up with ectoparasites on them. It could pose problems. Is this small one okay? I know we did have a baboon here a while ago that didn't look too good. It was a small one. I would expect this little one to be sort of moaning and trying to get away, but it's laid down there. Maybe it's enjoying it, but is it okay? It was quite a while ago we saw a youngster here. FC, do we know how long this little one's been here like this? That doesn't look like a particularly normal grooming position to me, but I don't know, maybe it's tired? I don't know, maybe he's just having a lie down. Maybe he's all right. There was a little baboon we were watching here. Oh, that was a good 3 weeks ago though. And I would have thought if the young one we saw before was struggling, normally if animals, especially young animals, are in trouble, they wouldn't normally survive for 3 or 4 weeks, but I could be wrong. Let's see if we can get some feedback on how long this has been happening like this. Maybe he's just tired. It just feels strange to me. Young ones don't, it's not a great idea for young ones to like lay on the floor. You'll often see them sort of rolling. Oh no, come on, are you going to get up? Okay, no, maybe he's all right. Oh, excellent. Okay, no. Okay, all good. Panic averted. It just felt weird to me that such a young animal was sort of laying flat on the floor. Normally I would associate little ones like that to be sort of scooped up or draped over legs or something like that, but no, maybe I was just tired. Cuthbert, you're asking how long does a baboon live? Animals often live longer in captivity, so I'm not sure if it would be longer in captivity, but up to maybe 20, 25 years in the wild, all things well, obviously. is often not the case. They are hunted, they get into fights, there might be food scarcities, water scarcities, and I'm not sure how old the longest or oldest recorded baboon is in captivity, but I'm sure it would probably be longer than that. Kwame, brilliant question. Why do female rumps swell when they are ready to mate? I mean, it's an indicator. It's based on hormones. It happens because of hormones. It's an indicator to the males. Probably also to some extent a display to other females, that they are sexually receptive at that time or reproductively receptive. Those swellings in females will also trigger some sort of behaviours in males, obviously to encourage mating. It also often triggers arguments. And the smells given off, as well as the visual stimulation, will let everyone know that she is ready and receptive. Tia, you are asking, do different baboon types mix in some areas? I don't think so, Tia. I might have to check though. I've never been in an area where there's different types of baboons that inhabit that same area, but I'm basing it on vervet monkeys and samango monkeys. I have been in an area where both species are present. I've not seen them mix, but nature's pretty clever. We have different species. Well, nature has different species for a reason, and if everything mixed, then it would become increasingly unclear what those different species were. I don't think so, Tia, but I'm basing it on samango monkeys and vervet monkey behaviour. Oh, what was that? As a rule, in nature, different species don't. They might mix, they might share an area if they had to, but they'd probably rather not, because unless they've got different niches, like exactly like the black rhino and white rhino, they will be in the same area. I've seen them standing together. I've seen them at the same water point, but they don't really compete for the same food resources, or indeed females. So they're like, nah, okay, we can hang out together. They're not eating the same thing, but I would have thought different types of baboons would be in food competition. I would imagine they've got fairly similar diets. And that geographical split, that geographical speciation that we see often prevents those interactions from becoming problematic. I don't think so, Tia. But interbreeding, occasionally odd animals will here and there, but it's very, very unusual in the wild. I think there's records of some birds doing it, but as a rule, nature doesn't do that. Palessa, brilliant question. You are asking, do alarm calls differ for eagles and leopards? Yes, they do. I used to struggle to tell the difference. My tracker explained it to me many times with impressions, but my first ever really clear demonstration of it was not that long ago. It wasn't baboons, it was monkeys. And it wasn't eagles or leopards, it was actually a snake. And we heard monkeys alarm calling, but it was not a sound we'd heard before. leopards, the way my tracker explained it, there's also different alarm calls for leopards and lions, the way he explained it, and it's more, for monkeys, it's more urgent. With leopards, it's faster, it's higher, as opposed to lions. They'll sort of say, oh, guys, there's a lion over there, don't go down on the floor, type thing. But leopards will climb and they will hunt monkeys, and it's much more urgent and more rapid. But the alarm call we heard, it was, I'm going to do an impression, a really bad one. Monkey alarm calls for leopards, what we're used to hearing, is sort of like a ow, 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 ow. But the sound we heard was sort of a ow, 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 ow. And we walked around, we were going, that's a monkey, and it's an alarm call, but it doesn't sound like we're used to hearing. And we walked around, and we saw the monkey, and we went over, we thought, why is it making that noise? And we looked, I shouldn't really be telling everyone this. And we looked down, and there was a python, probably 3 meters from our feet, and it was enormous, a huge big python, sort of 3-4 meter python that looked like it had just eaten a dacre. And those monkeys were giving a snake alarm call that was completely different from the leopard alarm call that we're used to. I couldn't do impressions of baboons and their different alarm calls, but the way my tracker's always explained it, definitely lions and leopards are different. I can't tell you what the difference is, but it will be different for eagles and leopards, because leopards will come from the bottom up to hunt, and eagles would come from the top down. And everyone ideally needs to know the first thing we do if we hear a baboon or a monkey alarm calling is we try and find that individual and look at it. And they're often up high, and if you can get a visual on, oh dear, bit of a scuffle. If you can get a visual on that animal, and you look where they're looking. If they're looking down in the riverbed, you look down in the riverbed. If they're looking up to the sky, you look up to the sky. But that's how we use alarm calls, and they will often follow that predator as well. If there's a troop of baboons in trees sort of along 100 metres, you hear that alarm call moving as that predator moves. So that was a really long answer, Palessa, but the short answer is yes. But yeah, I have 100% heard the difference, and I can tell the difference now between a snake and a leopard alarm call. I've actually watched monkeys alarm calling at a leopard painted on the side of a van before. That was quite confusing. I was actually in Thornybush, where the camera at Serendella is, and I heard these monkeys. They were going mad. But in the middle of the day, we're more used to hearing alarm calls for leopards sort of early in the morning or late in the evening, sort of midday, hot. And these monkeys were going mad, and a few of us went outside and we looked, and we could see these monkeys, and they were staring in the car park, and we were like, oh crikey, is there a leopard walking through the car park? And it took us a few minutes to work it out, and there was a delivery van with a leopard painting. Was it a leopard? No, I can't remember if it was a leopard or a lion, but it was a delivery van with something painted on the side of it. It took us ages to work out what all the noise was about. We were standing there, and they were looking sort of at us. And it's like, oh God, is there a leopard like right here? But there was not. Also, a tactic that lodges sometimes use to dissuade some of the primates from coming in and stealing food, rather than using more aversive methods, sometimes a painting of a leopard, or sometimes I've heard of places using a stuffed leopard or a snake to deter them from coming into the human areas and getting themselves into trouble. Binta, you're asking, do they travel big distances? Not if they don't have to. They tend to sort of, I'm sure this is probably the same troop. If they've got everything they need, if they've got food, if they've got water, if they've got good trees to rest in, why do it if they don't need to? And that's the case for many animals. If they have breeding resources, food, water, safety, why travel? And you hear about, birds and things migrate huge distances for food, or those huge wildebeest migration. They're following the water, following the food. But these guys have got it made here, and baboons will often roost in the same place if they've got everything they need there. You are asking, do orphaned infants get adopted by others? I'm not sure. I'm trying to think logically. It would have to be adopted by a female that was lactating, if they were still very young, if they still needed milk. And if a female is lactating, it normally means she's got her own baby, which might not be a good incentive to adopt someone else's baby, because it would mean reduced resources for her own youngster. I'm not sure. Baboons can be quite brutal at times. My gut says it's been recorded, but not common. But yeah, I'm gonna put that on my homework list. My gut response is to say it has been recorded, but isn't commonplace in baboons. But let me go away and check, yeah. I'm gonna put it on my homework list. I will be back tomorrow, yeah, with your answer. So you're gonna have to come back and find out. In the meantime, let's head across to El Doño and see who we have got up there this afternoon. Oh, we've got some of these beautiful eland today. I like eland a lot. There was quite a few eland here yesterday. Still no view of the mountain in the background there. Oh, these are enormous bulls. Look at the size of these. They're huge, huge animals. Wow, I've actually heard it before up in the Kalahari. Oh, I was just about to say, if these animals run, it's like a stampede if there's a big group of them, and just as I said that, they moved. Oh, they look really healthy though. Well muscled, good coverage. Hello, Gareth. A good day to you too. You are asking, you and your wife are pensioners in Hillcrest, KZN. One of your enjoyments is to feed the wild birds. However, you have one male long-tailed wider that dive bombs and chases and terrorises the other birds, which is annoying and upsetting to you. Any advice on how to get rid of him? I don't advocate on getting rid of him for nature taking its course reasons. So Gareth, I'm going to suggest, see, I'm going into dog behaviour mode now, and I'll be giving similar advice to what I would be giving dog owners if their dog was resource guarding. If it's over food, if he's chasing, it might ease off. Remember, when the breeding season eases off a little bit, he might be feeling quite territorial because of lady widers present. But the other thing I would suggest, if it's over food, if he's chasing the birds away from the bird table, have more than one space for feeding. Let's go across to Tembe while I continue my bird resource guarding diagnosis. If it's over food resources, maybe set up another 1 or 2 feeding stations. If he's chasing other birds away, I look at these woolly neck stalks here. If he's chasing the other birds away for food, if there's more food, then he might not try and chase the others away for food. If it's started happening recently because it's breeding season, there's not that much you can do. He's feeling possessive of his area. Dogs normally resource guard because they're feeling insecure. I'm sure your wider is maybe feeling a bit insecure. He's trying to claim breeding rights, and as a result, he's chasing all the other birds away. So, if he's chasing for food, put more food out. Put more food areas out so he doesn't feel so inclined to be so mean to the other birds. That's the diagnosis I would give for a dog anyway. Birds, yeah, it's similar. All sorts of resource security in animals normally comes from a place of, resource security comes from a place of insecurity. If there's loads and loads of resources, no one needs to feel insecure about losing their resources. So resource insecurity doesn't happen. It's actually amazing, the behaviour I've been studying over the last 4 or 5 years. I've studied mammalian behaviour, so it covers, I specialise in dogs, but a mammal is a mammal is a mammal. And lots of the thought patterns and things are similar across different species. There's lots of... Oh no, that was hardidars coming in. There's quite a few woolly neck stalks here today.
Step into the exciting world of the original science. Next September, Master Tracker Renus Mhlongo and Wild Earth's Steve Falconbridge lead a spectacular safari through the Kruger, where you'll learn to identify tracks and then trail iconic big game on foot. Days are spent immersed in the field, evenings around the fire sharing stories, from the hair-raising to the hilarious. This is the ultimate wild immersion for the nature connoisseur.
Would you like to know the difference between a male and a female wildebeest? You can ask me questions like this in real time. Our safaris are live and interactive here in the heart of Africa. Join me on Safari Live and connect with nature.
Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Wow, that was amazing, everybody.
Are you ready for the adventure of a lifetime? Wild Earth Travel's newsletter is your passport to a magical journey. Explore exclusive travel options featuring special offers at stunning Wild Earth locations and all hosted by your favorite presenters. Don't miss out. Head over to our website and subscribe to the Wild Earth Travel newsletter today and stay in the know on all our unforgettable adventures. Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
We shouldn't be doing it, but it brings so much joy. Like, what are you doing? Oh, that elephant stuck his head right in there. Yeah, it's a difficult one, but that bird feeder, that is, I've seen that twice. What's that elephant doing? And it's absolutely insane. I think I actually saw it briefly before we started this afternoon's show, and I think I saw male and female weavers, grey go-away birds, bulbuls. Who else was on there? And I just glanced at it. Has this elephant got a damaged trunk? Yes, it has. That's why that elephant was doing that. I didn't notice that before. It looks like that elephant has lost the end of its trunk. Shame, little elephant. That's why it was dunking its head in the water. So see, all the other elephants are reaching down with their trunks. Oh, this has greened up a bit back there. That little elephant we just saw looks like got damage to the end of its trunk. And that's why it was dunking its head in the inlet to have a nice quenching drink. That's a shame to see. Often elephants will lose the tips of their trunks to snares. We had a long discussion about whether or not it could have been a crocodile attack. I said I'd never seen a crocodile grab an elephant's trunk. I know it happens, I know there's been records of it. And someone said that it had been seen in such and such place. It's been seen, crocodiles grabbing the end of elephants' trunks. But in my opinion, it's more likely to be an injury from a snare, which is very sad. Yeah, look at that little one on the left. And I've seen elephants with less trunk than that one there, and they've done okay with it. They do, they need to drink differently. Let's watch and see if he goes back again. But I mean, this elephant, this middle one with a damaged trunk must be, I don't know, 5 or something? No, probably older. 5, 6. Oh, that's sad. It's actually quite badly damaged. It's also got a... Oh, that makes me sad. But yeah, it could be from a lion or a something attack. But in my opinion, it's more likely to be snared. Paula, I'm sorry you missed it. I am assuming you are asking with regards to the bird feeder, what is the pink stuff they put out for the birds on the live bird feeder program? I said I wasn't too sure. I hypothesized around it possibly being some sort of pink fruit or something. I discussed that I'd recently seen an advert for an unknown substance online somewhere that was like a powder that was reconstituted that birds really enjoyed. I'm not sponsored by them. I've got no idea what it was called, but I'd never seen it before. I actually saw it last week. It was hydrated and put out for birds, and then FC very sensibly suggested that it's probably suet, which is sort of like a fat. I know garden birds are super keen on fats. It's got lots of protein in. Sometimes you will find fat balls with like insects and stuff in. But birds think it's absolutely delicious. So it's something for the insect feeders. If you get fat balls with seeds and insects, then it's a little bit of something for everyone. So yeah, I think that's probably the most sensible answer, Paula, is possibly suet. Amazing all the different bird species you get on that feeder though. Wow, this is a huge group of elephants. And then I re-hypothesized the ethics of feeding birds, feeding animals. And I said I feed birds. And I've got 2 bird baths. A porcupine comes to drink out of my bird bath. Is that correct? I don't care. It's not a massive dam. It's 2 very small bird baths, and if the birdies come, I was actually just watching 10 minutes ago 2 little dark-capped bulbuls having a drink in my bird bath, and I'm okay with that. I guess it depends where your ethics lie, really. Would I install a dam with hay feeders? Absolutely not. Do I have a little bird bath with some little sticks next to it so the birdies can sit on it? And a bird feeder that I sometimes put unused fruit on, or some bird seed? Absolutely. Wow, there's huge numbers of elephants, but it has, see how much greener it is. There's lots of, I think that's maybe Mapani at the back there. Greened up beautifully. I was up in the northern Kruger and around the Shingretsi area. There's had lots of rain up there. Okay, great information sent through here. Thank you very much for this. Pink suet refers to high energy bird food, often suet pellets or balls coloured pink by natural ingredients like berries, used to attract wild birds, providing essential fats and nutrients, especially in colder seasons, and comes in various forms like blocks, balls or pellets for feeders. So yes, I think that makes complete sense. I've still actually got some. I should probably use it. I've got some bird peanut butter stuff with bugs in. I can't think of the word. They're not maggots. My brain won't work. What are those? My brain's not working at all. With insects. They're not caterpillars, they're not maggots. Mealworms, there we go. I got there in the end. It's age, my brain doesn't work as well as it used to. Caterpillars or maggots, near enough. Huge numbers of elephants coming in here. But they've got, if that is Mopani, Mopani actually retains quite a lot of nutrition even after the leaves have fallen. Those nicknamed the butterfly tree, Calophyrspermum Mopani. Huge stands of Mopani, certainly up in the north of Kruger. I had a lovely 3 days, 2 nights recently playing Kruger Bingo. I've actually put my Kruger Bingo cards on my Instagram if anyone needs any ideas. Kelly Field Guide. The Kruger Bingo is definitely a winner, and I will be playing again. You can make it as hard or as easy as you want if you draft your own bingo cards. So please do remember to send in your thoughts, your questions, either via WhatsApp, X, Facebook, Instagram, or via the Wild Earth YouTube channel. Paula, pink suet, thank you. You love to feed your birds in the garden. You've got a nice sanctuary for them. We'll also put some suet out now. Thank you, Paula. I approve of some small interferences in nature like that. I'm sorry if there's any purists that find that horrendous. I do not. And Paula, no, unfortunately that little elephant, not this one. This little one is very, very cute and has all of its trunk. Once they've lost their trunk, that's it. They need to learn to adapt. And very often they do. They will use it differently. I've seen elephants do very, very well with almost no trunk at all. And many animals do not have trunks. Ooh, so I just touched my finger. They do not have trunks and they survive very well, and animals can really learn to adapt incredibly well to surprising hardships that they may suffer. Both wild animals, maybe not quite so much. They're very much at the mercy of nature. But it's actually quite surprising how well animals learn to adapt and adjust. And yeah, Paula, if you're interested, I honestly can't. Oh, it is Mopani. I can't remember where I saw it. Maybe it is a type of suet. It was from and I don't know if it's any good, so don't take my word for it. It was like a reconstitutionable, is that a word? Powder from a animal feed supplier or something. It came up when I was scrolling somewhere, and it actually looked really, really convenient, and it formed sort of it almost looked like a polenta mix sort of thing. It was in a powder form and it looked like you reconstituted it with water, and I assume it had high fat content, high protein content, and you could reconstitute it and it swelled and you could form it into whatever you wanted. So I'm sure you could squish something into some sort of bird feeder. That would be quite handy if you wanted to fill up a feeder with something of a specific size. But I'd never seen it till last week, but I've got no idea if it's legitimate or any good. It might be worth having a look at. And thank you for helping out the birds, Paula. I do sometimes put some seeds out or a bit of fruit, but I don't do it all the time because I do travel. I am away over Christmas and New Year. I'm gone for a while guiding, and I wouldn't want the birds to become reliant on that food resource. If I did it every day religiously and always made sure there was food out and seed out and all the rest of it, it would concern me that they wouldn't stop foraging. But I would worry that because I was gone quite often, if the food wasn't there, they might struggle, which is not okay. So that's why I don't do it all the time. Ros in George, you're saying the wild birds in your garden eat you out of house and home. They can, if they get used to it. I know lots of people who feed their birds regularly. The birds will almost wait for them to put their nuts out in the morning, and they sort of loiter. People end up with loitering birds, like Alfred Hitchcock. End up with birds loitering all around their garden. My birds, they're not my birds. The birds that live in my garden certainly are not used to me doing it. If they do happen to get something, it's just a bonus for them. But yeah, it's lovely. And something I've been thinking about the last few days. Where are all the nests? You think about how many birds there are, and how infrequently we find nests. I was very, very sad that my African paradise flycatchers lost their, I'm going to hope it was eggs and not little babies. They lost their clutch to I believe to a boomslang. As I got back from my trip to Kruger, there was shouting and birds chasing and stuff in the tree, and I thought, oh no. And sure enough, there was a snake in the tree, and my flycatchers have gone now. And I hope they've got time for a second clutch, and I hope they do it somewhere safe. But it's the price we pay when we dip into their lives, I guess, and that is not something I would interfere in. That's sad, but it's nature. Oh, look at that tiny zebra. Elephant, don't chase the little zebra. But yes, they are voracious if you have enough of them, Ros. But yeah, where are all the birds' nests? I suppose they instinctively hide them and put them out of sight. But it fascinates me how few nests we see in relation to how many birds there are. What's everyone doing for Christmas then? Is anyone staying home? Is anyone travelling? Anyone going somewhere nice? I'm working. In our industry, Christmas is just another day. And I always make a point of wherever I am. So please let us know what you're doing for Christmas. Have you already broken up from work? Are you going somewhere exciting? Are you going into nature? If you're going into nature to spend your holiday season in nature, please do let us know. I always make a point, my original English heritage, I think England is bigger on Christmas than South Africa. I still haven't, quite even after 13 years, I still get a bit weirded out that it's hot at Christmas. I've nearly made peace with it. But I always make a point, I've worked many Christmases. The holiday season here is extremely busy. I think I've worked most Christmases for the last 13 years, apart from COVID Christmas, when I spent it with my dad in England. Hi Dad, if you're listening, I know you won't be. But yeah, let us know what you're up to. I always make a point of doing something for Christmas, finding a Santa hat, and at least trying to spend an hour during the day with whoever I happen to be with. As I always say, if you can't be with the ones you love, then love the ones you're with. I make a point of having some cheese or something for an hour during the day, something festive. I'm going to miss my tracker this Christmas. My tracker's name is Noel. Or Noel. But at Christmas he used to get sung at often. Oh, Paula, that's lovely. You always make sure someone feeds the birds if you go away. Gabby, you're asking, do elephants ever work together, digging and pushing trees, etc.? They will do. Gabby, they definitely will do. So I'm sure that little one, if he struggles in a family, they've got very close social ties. Elephant families, breeding herds, they will keep a close eye out for each other, and I'm sure that little one with a damaged trunk will get lots of help if there's ever. And they, as elephants get older as well, their families or comrades will help them with acquiring food, sometimes if they can't do it on their own. Cracker, you're saying Noel or Noel sounds like the perfect Christmas tracker. I miss Noel at Christmas. I used to sing Noel, Noel for weeks leading up to Christmas. I introduced one of the lodges I was working at. I introduced the tracking team to Squirty Cream. That was a revelation. And another brilliant story that I often tell. Depending on where you're working, you often can't get to the shops around Christmas, and one of the boys, if he is listening, he will know exactly who he is. I asked him to, if he was going to town, if he could get me some mince pies. Quite a British traditional thing. My mum, bless her, used to start on the mince pies about October, and I'm not actually a huge fan, but I think I eat them in her memory. That's my excuse anyway. And I asked one of the boys if they could get me 6 mince pies, and he came back with frozen steak pies. And I said, they're not mince pies. He said, well, mince is like beef, isn't it? He was very confused. But we will leave these elephants here at Elephant Pan, and I would love to have a look and see who is back across at El Doño. See if our eland are still present, or if we have swapped shifts. Look, what's this elephant doing climbing over this log? We have indeed swapped shifts. We have some giraffes present now. V from Zimbabwe, you're saying Christmas will just be chilling at home, maybe a braai. Love your style, V. There are warthogs, elephants chasing everyone away from the waterholes. That is a fabulous Christmas view, V. Great way to spend it in nature. Paulie, you're going to spend Christmas in the garden with the family and all the birds. Again, a beautiful way to spend it. Oh, nice big drink from this giraffe. Looks like a male here. Having a nice long drink. Kwaku, you're asking, do calves nurse from aunts as well as mums? I'm assuming you mean elephants. Yes, they will. Look at all those oxpeckers on this giraffe. You gonna have another drink, boy? I always buy a poinsettia at Christmas as well. That normally dies quite quickly in honour of my mum. And the other day I picked up some Santa hair clips and some Christmas nail stickers. I always used to put tinsel on my vehicle on Christmas Day. And I remember one Christmas I had a little, like a Christmas bauble, like a shiny bauble hanging off my wing mirror with my Christmas tinsel. And I was in a lion sighting and I suddenly thought, oh, I wonder if big cats chase light reflections like cats would chase lasers. Not a good idea to do with pets as a rule, certainly not dogs. Playing with lasers and dogs isn't a good idea, but I suddenly thought, oh, if any sunlight glints off this Christmas bauble, I wonder if I'm in trouble. But nothing happened, so that was good. But yeah, I maybe hadn't quite thought that through. I have sat many times in a Santa hat and tinsel in 40 plus degrees. No Christmas jumper was present. Is that an eland sneaking in there? It is. The light's quite dark here on this camera. Yes, that's another eland sneaking in there on the right. Oh, oh. 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 No, yes. All those birds must be annoying on his head. There's lots of them. It was actually surprisingly quiet in the Kruger Park. We did go up into the north. And it was a last minute trip. Sort of decided the day before and we weren't sure if we were going to find anywhere to stay, and it was actually quite quiet. We stopped at one of the picnic spots. We were chatting to the person who was looking after the picnic spot, and they said, no, December's often very quiet, which I found surprising, but I guess it does get jolly warm in the park in the Kruger over Christmas. But yeah, we were quite surprised there was so much accommodation. Lots of families, although lots of families head to the coast in South Africa for the Christmas holidays. But yeah, up here in Limpopo it can get somewhat toasty over Christmas. Cato, you're saying, why lack top front teeth for leaf pulling? I'm assuming you mean that animals like impala and things don't have top sets of teeth. They don't. But you know, I hear you. I hear why you're asking. I'm not sure, actually. I was going to say because they don't need them. Giraffe don't. They've also just got a plate. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think.
Oh, yes, there's a leopard. I've got a leopard here. My name is Cedric, and behind the camera with me we've got Muscles and Paul. Well, it is Feline Friday. Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word. She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh. Woo. This is action-packed. My full name is Cedric Leslie Dold. The best driver at Wild Earth, it is me. I believe I'm the best driver. I think so, because I've... Best part of my job, I say, is just to try and look out for these animals, track them down. I love tracking animals. I love looking for, fresh tracks, and if you can find them, it's just at the moment of accomplishment. If I wasn't a presenter for Wild Earth, I would be the drummer for AC/DC. Morning everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Wow, that was amazing everybody.
It looks like there's some little trees coming up through there as well. Oh, everything grows so quickly this time of year. Oh, we've got a giraffe up there at Elephant Pan. He looks like he's been in mud. And Kato, I'm sure there's a good evolutionary reason for it, but I can't for the life of me think what that is at the moment. But I tell you what, Kato, I'm going to put that on my homework list. Frequentness of baboon baby adoption and why evolution has made some with top teeth and some without. Why some top teeth. I will remember that. I'm not cheating. I only prefer to use either books or science-reviewed papers these days. When I'm doing some research. My levels of trust in information acquired are getting increasingly sketchy. Is this giraffe also gonna... Oh no, I thought it was going to go down for a drink as well then. Look, it's much greener here now at Elephant Pan. Check all this greenery. Helen, you are asking, do wild animals have a higher blood pressure than domestic animals? I'm going to guess no. These giraffes have very high blood pressure because they need it to get blood up to all the way up those necks. But I'm basing my no on the fact that wild animals have appropriate amounts of exercise and species-specific nutritional requirements, whereas domestic animals, like you don't see fat wild animals, and my brain is associating increases in blood pressure with incorrect diets and levels of exercise. And wild animals, while there might often be scarcities in food, they're getting exactly what nature intends them to get. I often say I feel like I can tell. You see, it's getting even worse with AI generated things now. It can be so difficult to tell. I'm so skeptical when I see things online these days. At least we know everything here is 100% real. There's so many artificial intelligently generated images circulating now, but I always feel like I can often tell a wild lion from a captive lion just by looking at them, because their physicality often looks different to me. So I'm basing that on those assumptions, Helen. Whether or not I'm correct, I don't know. And I guess it would vary wildly between species and the type of domestic animal. But I would say generally, no. Oh, shame. Did something put you off? Maybe those zebra coming up behind made him jump. These giraffe look a little bit nervous. We're quite used to seeing the giraffe at Aldonio who happily bowl in and get down there quite quickly and have a drink and share with a variety of other animals. But this is how I usually associate animals with, or giraffes with, drinking. They faff about for a long time. They think about it and then they change their minds. They look like they're looking towards the camera. Maybe there's something behind the camera that they're not too happy with. Ah, look, they're in size order. That makes me happy. They're all lined up beautifully there. See, and it's let's see how they manage this. I found often animals don't all drink at once, zebra being a brilliant example. It occasionally happens, but normally sometimes someone has got their head up, keeping an eye out for problems. Here's that third one, gonna also drink now just to prove me wrong. Look, those two are synchronised. He won't still prove me completely wrong now, and I'll drink at the same time. That's okay. Yep, thanks, giraffes. It happens often. That doesn't look comfortable, does it? Yeah, all proving me completely wrong. Thanks for that. I think one of my... I've been proved wrong so many times by nature. I've lost count. But I think one of my favourites was a cheetah sighting many, many years ago. And it was 2 male cheetah, actually in the Sabi Sands, which is semi unusual for the Sabi Sands. And someone said, "Oh, are we going to see them? Do you think we'll see them in a tree?" And I said, "No, it's not normally." I said, "Cheetahs don't climb trees, it's leopards. Leopards are really good tree climbers, and they will hoist kills, and they spend a lot of time resting in trees, but you'll never see a cheetah climb a tree. Their claws aren't as sharp for grip. They're not as powerful as leopards, making them able to climb trees." And as I was saying it, one of these cheetah walked towards a marula tree and stood at the bottom of this marula tree and hopped up into the V of a marula tree. And I went, okay, well, ignore me. It didn't go far up, but it sort of hopped up probably about 1.5 meters and sat in the V of a marula tree. I actually got a picture of it, just to prove how wrong I am on a regular basis. All these zebra are super happy with this lovely green grass. It's so nice to see animals in times of plenty of water, plenty of food. Oh, and every year I forget how super cute all these baby impalas are. I don't remember seeing any baby impalas on these cameras, actually. I'm sure they're around. But I don't know if I don't recall seeing any. Every year I'm flabbergasted by how incredibly cute these little babies are. Keto, you're asking, why do giraffes sway when they walk at slow speeds? Body kinetics, I guess. Those necks are incredibly long, and just the movement of them swaying, or the way they move, they've got quite a big gait as well. They've got long legs, they've got long necks, and I think just the action of those swaying side to side creates that action of, looks like a sway. They also sway if they're running. It's quite ungainly. They don't, they're not very compact, thus making them more susceptible to swaying, I guess. There's a lot of them to move around. The biomechanics are fascinating, actually, especially in something like giraffe. Tafari, you are asking, I'm assuming you're referring to giraffe, do they hum at night for communication? I have never ever heard of this, Tafari. But I'm happy to investigate further. Giraffes, they they don't sort of, they do make noises, but they don't make sort of, they don't bark or moo or roar or anything. It's more sort of nasal snufflings and that sort of thing. I have never heard of anyone suggesting that giraffes hum, but let me put it on the list, Tafari, to find out if giraffes do indeed hum at night. Do. Yeah, giraffes don't have traditional sort of calls, so to speak, but they'll sometimes stamp, but it's more they sort of snuffle and sort of grunt, and they do make sound. I know one of the sort of classic, what sound do giraffes make? And there's various different ones, but it's not one specific well-known sound. But I will definitely investigate if they hum. I'm just trying to... I don't know, Tafari, but I'm going to find out. Okay, I've broken my code and I have had a look, and this says giraffes do hum. I have never heard that in my life. Back to Aldonio, let's see if... these are going to share again. I've never heard anyone say that giraffes hum. Guess I've got homework. I don't know if it would be a frequency audible to humans. Maybe not. How interesting. Every day is a school day. I do like the way everyone shares at this waterhole at Aldonio. See, look how small that eland looks next to that giraffe. This is a huge male giraffe, and they really are insanely big when you get very close up. Okay, I'm not going to lie, I am digging around. There have been records of, it would seem, captive giraffes making a sound around 90 hertz, which is unhearable to humans. but there's no evidence of wild giraffes currently making these sounds. My image in my head when asked if giraffes hum would be me driving past a group of giraffes and them going Studies from 2015 says captive giraffes. Oh, we've got something happening at Naledi. Let's go and have a look. But there was a study published in 2015. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find that study from 2015. Oh, wow. Look at this fish eagle's got something. So there has been some evidence of captive giraffes possibly making low-frequency sounds at night. But it was based on a study from 2015. So that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to go and find that study and investigate. But this is I wonder what this fish eagle's got here. This is a lovely image of this fish eagle. And it actually shows how much brown they've got on them. When you see them sitting in trees, they do very much look black and white. But this just goes to show how much brown these fish eagles have got on them. Well, I don't know what he's eating there. Mr. Patrick Ndolesha, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. You're watching from Zambia and you're fascinated by the adaptations of the elephant, which has lost part of its trunk. I don't know what this fish eagle's eating. Is it maybe it is a fish? I think he has got a fish here that looked like a bit of tail. Mr. Patrick Ndolesha, you've got little knowledge that elephant trunks are multi-purpose organs used for smithing, smelling, breathing, drinking, eating, communicating, defense, lifting objects, and precise manipulation due to over 40,000 muscles. You are very educated on that, and you are absolutely spot on. They can also function as snorkel showers and dust mud bath sprayers. Aren't some of these functions affected by the loss of half its trunk? Absolutely, very much so. The loss of half that trunk will have a huge impact on lots of these factors. It will need help from its family. Drinking is I think this is eating a fish. Drinking is a big one. But as we saw in that clip from earlier, they just shove their face in the water and just drink through their mouth, rather than sucking water up through their trunk and siphoning it into their mouth. They use their mouth directly. They will just get down, same as very young calves do when they're not very good at manipulating that trunk. He will just drink using his mouth. Feeding, again, there will be some problems with that, but that young elephant we saw did have tusks, so he would still be able to use those tusks to lever cambium and things up. There. I thought that eagle was going to try and swallow all that at once then. And then he would pick it up with his mouth. Dust bathing, very, very tricky one, but they could still get down. They can still get down and stand up again. Maybe he will coat himself in mud by getting down like we've seen those rhinos do. I wonder if there's been any records of elephants dusting one another. I think I've seen adults putting water on calves. They must do to keep them cool. Look how that crop is filling up there. I wonder if there's ever been any records of adults helping one another. Is that this is going to be disgusting. If this eagle swallows this all in one go, it's going to be quite unpleasant to watch, so feel free to look away. But yes, Patrick, there will be many functions that are influenced, but animals are incredibly versatile. They have to be to survive, like I said earlier. Wild animals struggle a bit more, but I've seen, I think there is an amazing case of was it a three-legged hyena? I think it was a three-legged hyena had lost one of its back legs, and it was alive. So yes, those trunks are incredibly important to elephants, but nature is very, very good at adapting. Adapt to survive. This is a glorious view of this fish eagle. I would love to know what it's eating. I don't know if we saw this eagle catch whatever this is. I would assume it just sort of landed, or we found it on the ground already. But see, look, he's struggling to get that those last remnants of whatever that is down. Using those super powerful talons to hold that catch still while it's beautifully dissected. Nia, you're asking, why do pairs lock talons in mid-air displays? It's courtship. It's a form of bonding. I also wouldn't have thought it was a brilliant idea. It looks jolly dangerous to me if you're flying up in the air and you limit your ability to fly by locking talons with another eagle. But that is the courtship that has been developed for this species. Maybe might be a test of trust or something, I don't know, between a pair.
I'm Ralph, and I'm taking you to Sibuya Game Reserve, which is one of the only game reserves in Southern Africa accessed only by boat. We'll stay at the luxury forest camp overlooking the Kariga River with an abundance of bird life and animals grazing on the opposite bank. Luxury tented suites set in a riverine forest offers the perfect place for privacy and comfort. Join me on Sibuya and let's experience it together.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
I get to wake up every morning and go out there and look for cats. I get to create my everyday safari for myself. I grew up in the sort of central eastern suburbs of Johannesburg, fully qualified trails guide and a fully qualified nature conservationist. I love the wild places. I love being in the wilderness. It's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had and probably ever could have.
Morning everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Wow, that was amazing everybody.
Every month, something wild lands in your inbox. From rare sightings and behind-the-scenes secrets to expert stories, seasonal changes, and exclusive travel opportunities. The Wild Earth Journal is your free monthly mailer, packed with the magic of the wild straight from the field. It's fun, it's free, it's full of surprises. Sign up now on the Wild Earth website.
These can cause problems in agricultural settings. They are omnivores, so they'll eat everything from seeds right through to rodents, worms, but they will certainly cause problems with some crops in some crop areas. But wow, what a stunning bird to have on your property. I'm just trying to think if I have ever seen one of these. No, I don't think I've ever seen one. I'd be deeply excited if I ever managed to get a crowned crane sighting. And look how much time they're spending preening those beautiful feathers. Very important bird to keep these feathers in tip-top condition, especially flight feathers. If you find a feather on the ground, unless someone's been eaten, they're often discarded flight feathers where they would have been pulled out by individuals as part of this grooming ritual to make space for new and improved feathers. But if you run your fingers sort of down a feather, they almost unlock, and then if you run it back up, they should sort of zip back together, go in microscopic sort of hook system, sticky system, like a Velcro system in feathers to keep them in good form. But when they get older, when they are preened like this, it's often because the feathers are reaching the end of their zippability, for want of a better phrase. Oh, they're so pretty. So unusually the males and the females are quite similar in these birds. Males are ever so slightly bigger. See how very delicate all those feathers around their sort of ruff, around their neck, and they lift their heads up. Go and show us your rough feathers. There, see underneath their neck. Oh, look. Birds often, when you see them sort of, they reach around to the, sort of towards their back. They've got a preen gland that secretes a sort of waterproofy, oily substance that they use to keep these feathers waterproofed and in tip-top condition. I would be interested to know the actual percentage time that birds do spend grooming. I know it's significant, and often when I watch birds, I'm just trying to think how often when I would look at birds are they preening or grooming? Quite often. I would like to know what percentage of time they actually spend grooming. I would imagine they're either normally grooming, feeding, or sleeping. Lovely views of these crown cranes up in Tortillas Camp up there in Kenya. What a treat. And equally beautiful blacksmith lapwings there, not to be overlooked. Oh, sounds like there might be some parrots in the background as well. We've got an egret. There's a little bird party going on here. And see, look, almost all of them are grooming. All of them. That egret, these blacksmith lapwings and these gorgeous cranes all doing a spot of maintenance. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're nearly at the end of the show. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Fabulous start with those gorgeous rhinos with their noses in the camera. Lovely opportunity to get lovely views of those snotty velvet nostrils and those that fibrousness of those horn that we don't often get to see. I am due to be back tomorrow. I will be investigating homework. Tomorrow's homework will be frequency of baboon... our fish eagle's going to be washing down whatever it was they finished. See, look, that bird just looks black now. Lovely to see them in a different light. See how much brown those fish eagles carry. So yes, frequency of baboon adoption in troops. Why evolution has developed some animals with top teeth and some without. I'm going to guess it's going to be diet based, but more reading is required. And giraffe humming, an absolute revelation to me. I will be digging up that study from 2015 to see what I can glean from it. But have a wonderful Monday. Thank you all so much for being here and your participation. I look forward to talking to you all again tomorrow. But until then, take care and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.